So, how has my menopausal journey affected my reunion? I honestly have never heard anyone bring this up, but I have thought about it a lot. I know I have changes going on because I'm a very different person right now, and I wonder if I had not been in perimenopause, would the beginning of my reunion have been any easier? Would I have not had so many breakdowns and days of feeling helpless? Would I have been able to handle things easier? I think that this is such an important topic that doesn't get talked about enough, especially since many of us birth mothers enter reunion during this stage of our life. Today I'm going to talk about how menopausal symptoms can affect your reunion, but before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Kat Davald, and I'm a 49-year-old birth mom, and I've been in reunion for 5 years with my 33-year-old daughter. So to start, I'm going to talk a little bit about my menopausal journey and how that's been. I am actually really lucky in my symptoms. I have a genetic line of not having too many symptoms. My biggest one is my body temperature has raised like 15, 20 degrees. So I'm just hot all the time. It's like 60 degrees outside right now, and I'm actually kind of hot in this sweater. So that was never a thing for me before. I was always really cold at 70 degrees, and so now those things have really changed. I did have some medical issues where I had a cyst on an ovary, which I had removed, and I had a lot of bleeding, so I had an ablation. So I'm in medically induced menopause where I haven't had a period, but I still do get the symptoms and the signs with the cramping and all of that stuff, bloating and extreme hunger. Uh, but I don't actually have a physical period anymore because of that medical procedure. And that's really it. My mom didn't have too much. She was hot a lot, and she had a lot of heart palpitations. I remember, she denies it. I remember because I was living with her then. My sister said she didn't have too many. My grandma, my mom said she didn't have too many. And so, there's not a lot in my direct maternal line to signify a really tough menopause. My friend who's going through it right now, she is completely opposite. And I couldn't imagine having to deal with what she's going through right now. So I actually have it very easy. But one thing that I have that really hasn't been talked about by my mother or anybody else is I am super emotional. I get really sad and I cry very easily at silly things sometimes almost. Commercials can make me cry depending on the subject. If you show me any type of dog or cat rescue or anything, I'm tearing up. Anything heartfelt, and I'm a bag of tears. So that's one thing that has really affected me in menopause is my emotional state. Now, I don't know if it's actually because I went through reunion and I was able to start grieving and I had a dark night of the soul and I was able to come out of a lot of the childhood trauma and see that for what it was and all of that. So now I'm a different person. Or is it menopause? And is it those menopause symptoms? Am I going to be different? Because I tell you, my mother is a different person than she was 20, 30 years ago. Things that used to set her off, because now that I'm living back with her, I was walking on eggshells, especially since the first month. But things that used to set her off, no, nothing bothers her anymore. Because she's 75 now, she's way past that age and stage of her life and everything. So, all these things don't bother her. So I can't tell if it's menopause or if it's dark night of the soul or if I'm a different person. But I always think of it. Could it be? Could it be my menopause symptoms? Have they changed? Have they influenced my reunion and how I felt towards it and how I reacted towards it in any way? And honestly, I'm really just talking about the emotional side here. I'm not talking about hot flashes or anything like that. I'm talking about, the sudden anger bursts or the crankiness that comes along with menopause. Obviously, the complete sadness, the feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness, because that's a big one. And the feeling that you're just not good enough or you're not worthy enough. I mean, part of me wants to think that maybe it also has something to do with the coercion from the adoption agency way back then. Is that still sticking in my head? Or is it part of these menopause symptoms as well? I don't know if we'll ever figure this out, but I think it's worth talking about and thinking about, could this have some type of influence on our reunion because of this stage of our life? Everybody knows that menopause can affect relationships. You hear all the time about people getting divorced or going their separate ways, or even at a minimum, maybe having trouble during their menopause time, and it can cause really big friction in a lot of relationships. So why not reunion? Why can't reunion be affected by menopausal symptoms too? And this is why I think about it so much. And I think it deserves to be a topic that we discuss. In my opinion, reunion is already a roller coaster as it is. The crazy up and downs that we have emotionally when we're going through, especially the first 2 years, maybe even 3 years, how can menopause not intensify these insane emotions and feelings that we have? So really, what is there to do about it? I looked up what to do about menopausal symptoms and how to help alleviate those, because honestly, I don't know any other way to look at it, because there's no written rule on reunion and menopause. I don't even think it's been talked about. So obviously there are some things that you can do to help hopefully lessen the intensity and the attacks that you will get during menopause. Now, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, so anything I say, you should discuss it with your doctor first, especially if there's a reference to any types of medication or anything like that. But really, the first and foremost thing that every website that I checked said was eat healthy and exercise. That's kind of a given, but honestly, I really do think that it helps a lot, because I've been trying to eat healthier and to exercise more. And I think just those two things, they do help your mood immensely. The other thing that these websites had said is avoid drugs and alcohol. Well, that's kind of a given, especially drugs. You want to avoid drugs at all costs, but also limit caffeine. Caffeine is technically a drug, so I would limit that as well. I also have pared down my caffeine intake for more reasons than one. I can't really handle caffeine like I used to. Coffee upsets my stomach a little bit more these days. So I have really cut back on my caffeine intake, and I've seen a lot of help with sleeping at night by not drinking so much caffeine. Moreover, there was a lot of things that pointed to try to find some type of creative outlet, maybe, find a new hobby or volunteer for some type of cause that you want. Get out of nature, get into nature, get out and into nature, maybe start walking a little bit more. The fresh air is really nice this time of year. It's October when I'm filming this, so it's beautiful out. Obviously, having a support system is great too. And I'm not just talking about a therapist. I'm talking maybe a girlfriend who you can talk with, about your symptoms, maybe a birth mom support group if you want to join one of those to talk about birth mother issues, because sometimes our personal friends who aren't birth mothers can't understand where we're coming from, especially when we're in reunion. It's really difficult. Many people say to me, oh, well, you have her back now. And that is just a whole nother story. But when I hear that, I cringe because it's still not the same, and it's never going to be the same as a mother-daughter relationship that starts from day one. But I digress, and I'm going to move on. Another thing that you can do is to talk to your doctor about HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not offering medical advice. So talk to your doctor about uses of HRT, or maybe even some herbal remedies. Maybe they have something that you can try that you can get over the counter. Another big one was learning to relax, and you can do this in several ways. One of the things is doing some deep breathing, doing some guided meditations. YouTube is filled with guided meditations, and just 10 minutes a day or even a couple times a week really helps immensely. And they're very easy. A lot of people say, I don't know how to meditate. I can't meditate. I can't focus like that. Well, guided meditations are really simple because it just kind of guides you gently through 10 minutes of just deep breathing and relaxing and emptying your mind. It's very easy, very peaceful, quick, and you do feel very much better right afterwards. If you enter guided meditation into YouTube, you can find a ton of them available for free. Along with guided meditation is maybe some smooth music or some ASMR. Again, you can find all that on YouTube. Some nice cool jazz, some lo-fi music. And another one that really helped me, and I found it all for free on YouTube, is binaural beats. These are different frequencies of noise that you have to wear headphones for them, but it really the intention is it's supposed to balance your left and right hemisphere by playing one tone in one ear and another tone in another ear, and so it balances it out. Some people can't deal with them. Some people love them. I love them. It doesn't bother me at all. It actually helped me a lot, and it really helped me get out of some really deep depressions at some times. And then again, walking or maybe yoga, maybe doing some somatic exercises and, lymph draining and all that stuff. That's all very easy stretching type of things, just low key, nothing strenuous. I mean, if you like to do strenuous exercise, then by all means. But I don't. I like easy stretching, easy yoga poses, maybe some somatic exercises, which is basically some types of stretching too. So all of those can really help you. And I know it's easy to say to do all these things, but just give it, a couple minutes a day. Sometimes I only have the mind to stretch for 2 minutes a day. I do one leg and then I do the other, and that's it. Some days I do a lot more. I walk a lot more, or I don't walk any. It all depends on what you don't beat yourself up if you can't get everything in and have so much time for it. Just a couple of minutes really can help you. 5-10 minutes, put that aside for yourself to try to clear your mind and get yourself back into a more regulated place. Because I know emotions and menopause and reunion roller coaster. I know exactly how it feels. And then lastly, you can try some white or brown noise, or even like rain sounds. I like forest sounds. Sometimes I do forest sounds with like frogs and rain. That's a nice one. But I also like birds. I like to put on a YouTube video of just birds chirping. I don't know why, but birds chirping in the background, it just makes me feel like I'm outside, and I'll clean the house, or I'll do something that, is not in front of the computer, but it's just nice to have those chirping birds. I don't know, it calms me down. So in closing, Reunion during menopause can definitely make for overwhelming emotions, even more so than those that don't have to deal with birth mother feelings. I know that I've been extra triggered at times, but I am lucky that my symptoms are close to none. I do worry that it's only the beginning and they may intensify later on down the road. And hopefully, if they do reappear, I won't be affected too bad and say or do anything that can rock the boat in my reunion. Fingers crossed. That's it for today. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.